Knapp joins us now from Barnes & Noble to talk about some great summer reads out there. People think, oh, it's back to school shopping, blah, 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 blah. There's still a month left of the summer.
There is.
There's still plenty of time to kick your feet back by the pool and read a good book.
Yes, yes, and it should not be wasted.
Absolutely. By the way, summer reading program's still going on, right?
Yes, through the start of school. So any elementary age child can bring in their completed journal of 8 books that they've read over the course of the summer, get a free book of their choosing from the list.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a great
Easy
program.
to do.
Absolutely.
Speaking of kids, let's talk about what you got out there right now on bookshelves. This one down on the end.
So this is Dr. Seuss's newest, What Pet Should I Get? It was just released July 28th. This has kind of a backstory to it. It was discovered by Dr. Seuss's wife Audrey after his passing in 1991. And it's a story about a classic childhood moment, choosing a pet, and also about the making decisions aspect of it, where sometimes it's hard, but you just have to make up your mind. This has a really great kind of blurb in the back of it about how the transcript for the story was found, how the story came to be.
Very cool.
Really interesting. So Dr. Seuss is always a good bet.
Now, for some teens?
This is kind of a young adult. This has been kind of flying off of the shelves, but it's Isle of the Lost, and it follows the new generation of Disney villains, so it's actually the children of the Disney villains. And 20 years ago, the premise is that all the villains were banished to the Isle of the Lost, stripped of their evil powers. They live in total isolation. Hidden on the island in the Forbidden Fortress is a dragon's eye, and it's the key to your, villain, your true darkness, and their only hope of escape is finding this dragon eye, and only the most evil of the villains can find the eye, but in their quest to kind of find that, the kids prove that just because you come from an evil family, being good isn't so bad. So it's kind of a cool read. Been flying off the shelves.
What else do we have here?
This one is interesting. It's a really short read. It's only about 200 pages, but it's called News from Berlin. Author is, the pen name actually of the author is Otto de Cat. It takes place in June 1941. The premise is a Dutch diplomat has been posted to neutral Switzerland, and his family is spread across Europe. He briefly reunites with his daughter, where she gives him a date and a code name. It places the fate of all the nations at war in his hands and follows his one-month journey as the loneliest man in Europe.
Nonfiction or fiction?
It is fiction.
It's fiction.
It's a very short read, but according to the reviews, it's very riveting, very beautifully written, so that's a good one.
Now, tell me about this one, Deadly
Assets.
Deadly Assets.
So, W.E.B. Griffin, he's always a fan favorite. It takes place in Philadelphia, where each new violent crime builds tension between the police department, the mayor's office, and the Citizens Police Oversight Committee. The city is on the brink of eruption. The characters have to move forward even though their jobs, reputations, and lives are on the line. So it's the way that it's written, it covers the men and the women from the cop on the beat to the commissioner, and goes over the themes of fear and danger, courage and loyalty, and heroism and love. So great read also.
What's The Dog Master?
This one's kind of interesting. It's by W. Bruce Cameron, and it is a fiction that's basically takes place 30,000 years ago. The premise is when modern man was both predator and prey. They competed for scant resources in the brutal landscape. It was the Ice Age at that time. Experiences that make us human. They were on the brink of extinction, mankind was, but they had a unique advantage over other species, which was domesticated wolves. So the premise is, this is how modern dog originated from this, from these wolves.
That sounds like kind of a heavy read.
It is a little bit. It's deep, so you might want to pick a good spot by the pool, because it's going to take you a while.
That sounds good. Now, it wouldn't be a week without James Patterson writing a book.
I agree, and it is quite literally a weekly basis. This one is called Alert, and it's with Michael Ledwidge. So, of course, it's a murder. It takes place in broad daylight, and it points to killers both skilled and cold-blooded. The protagonist, Michael Bennett, finds himself racing against the clock, against the most destructive enemy he's ever faced, and has to save New York City before it's lights out for the city that never sleeps. So quintessential Patterson.
And we've got, this is a top 10 summer read right here.
It is, and if anybody likes Gone Girl, Gillian Flynn, or The Girl on the Train, which has been that's been on the bestseller list for weeks, months. This is In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. And the main character, Leonora, is a reclusive writer. She receives an invite from an old friend to spend a weekend in an eerie glass house. She accepts, Then 48 hours later, she wakes up on a hospital bed with the knowledge that someone's dead, but she doesn't ask herself what happened. She asks herself, what have I done? So it's a mystery. It's a good one. Again, if you like that genre, you're going to love this one.
And Brad Metzler's got a new one out.
He does. So this is kind of an interesting one. This is The President's Shadow. Main character is Beecher White. Looks like he has an ordinary job as a young staffer with the National Archives in Washington, D.C. He's responsible for safekeeping the government's most important documents, sometimes its most closely held secrets. So his other role is a member of the Culper Ring, which is a 200-year-old secret society founded by George Washington. It's charged with the position of protecting the presidency. Well, basically the story goes where there's a buried arm in the Rose Garden with a message for Beecher.
That can't go well.
It never does. And then Beecher is actually put in charge of finding out what that's all about, and he comes across the truth about his family history. So that's another good one.
We've only got 30 seconds left, so pick one of these. They're historical. Which one do you like best?
I'm actually going to go with The Oregon Trail because it's a modern version of the old story, and the author, Rinker Buck, actually went on a modern-day journey in a covered wagon with mules and followed the Oregon Trail.
Wow, that's cool.
It's really cool, and it actually goes into the history of all the things that were encountered and, you know, really how that whole story came to be with the modern take on it.
Awesome. Some great reads.
Yes.
Get on out, grab a book, sit by the pool.
Absolutely.
It's worth it. Good to see you, Melissa. We'll see you next month.
Sounds good.
We'll wrap up the newscast after the break.